So will AI take over filmmaking? It's something that I've been asking myself a lot lately, and it's something...
Show yourself. Subject: Sebastian Solberg. Violation: creation of unauthorized human films. Under Regulation 3644, only machine-generated content is permitted. Compliance required. Resistance punishable by...
But in all seriousness, AI has been on my mind a lot lately. And if I'm being honest, it's been giving me some sleepless nights. I keep asking myself, how do we pivot as filmmakers so that in 10 years, we still have a job that we love, that pays the bills? So I've lived through a lot of shifts over the last 20 years as a filmmaker. And the only reason that I'm still able to do filmmaking as a full-time job is because I've kept adapting. So I started out on VHS tapes, and I literally would press record on these 2 VHS machines and edit using that technique, which was very slow and cumbersome, but it taught me a lot. And then digital editing happened, and then DSLRs, and suddenly my mind was blown because you could shoot these cinematic films that looked like the kind of films I'd seen on the cinema. And then gimbals and drones and all that kind of stuff happened. But here's the thing, these were just tools. They made things cheaper and more cinematic, but they didn't actually change the whole nature of filmmaking. And that's why AI feels different. It's not just about gear anymore, it's about process, it's about ethics, and most importantly, it's about trust. So in this video, I want to share the real fears that I have as a filmmaker, and that I know other filmmakers have. The dangers, and also the opportunities that I see coming from AI. Things that can help make our films better. So first up is chapter 1, what filmmakers are afraid of. So the first big fear filmmakers have with AI is jobs, losing work, being replaced. And I get it, because that's how I feel myself. So I remember this one project. We had over 20 hours of interview footage, and we had to cut it down into about 20 minutes of film. This was before AI could help, so it was just me and an assistant editor, spending a month watching, blogging, tagging, and by the end, I was honestly feeling a bit cross-eyed. Now AI can do what took us a month in, about 10 minutes, which is crazy. It'll log everything, tag themes, even suggest the structure, which sounds amazing, right? But the thing is, it misses the little moments, the pause, the look, the laugh, the thing that often become the emotional core of a film. And if you don't sit with the raw material yourself, you can easily miss those magic moments. And that's the worry for me, that if everyone leans too hard on AI, our films start to lose that human touch. And then there's assistance. So on bigger projects, I used to bring someone on to help assist me to do that grunt work, organizing the footage, categorizing, just so it sped up my editing process. Now AI does that. And look, it's efficient, especially when I've got a low budget documentary project. But it also means those entry-level jobs are disappearing. And that's scary, because that's how people get into the industry. So the way I see it is that assistants need to pivot. They need to learn how to use AI, but also step up into doing more creative work and learning those really essential skills around storytelling and what makes an emotive story. So when I hire someone now, I'll get them to use AI for logging, and then they'll take it to that next level so that they can find those little magic moments and they'll look through everything. And I'll also give them more editing responsibility, so they're not just assisting, they're actually helping to edit the documentary. Then there's the client side. So I've heard this so much over the last couple of years. We just need a quick and cheap video for social media. And honestly, that is where AI wins every time. They can just churn out content at scale, generic content. And I can't compete with that. But the downside is That if clients start expecting everything to be faster and cheaper, it devalues the craft. It makes filmmaking look like pushing a button instead of years of experience, intuition, trust building, and judgment. I've just stopped chasing those quick jobs. Instead, I focus on clients who care about depth and quality, because that's where the human touch still matters. And thankfully, there is still an appetite for that kind of work. So yeah, don't try to compete with AI on speed or price, because you'll lose. Compete on what it can't do. That's where the value of documentary still lives. Chapter 2, the dark side of AI in filmmaking. So beyond those fears about jobs and roles, there are some bigger dangers with AI that I think we really need to talk about. And the first one is trust. I've made a lot of films for charities where the subjects were really vulnerable, and I always take extra care in those situations. Like when I can, I'll share what the vision is for the film, sometimes even an early cut of the film, because the last thing I want is for them to feel misrepresented. Trust is everything in documentaries. But imagine now adding AI to the mix. If I recreated someone's voice or generated footage to just fill a gap, and I didn't tell the main subject of the film or the audience, and they found out, that would instantly destroy trust. And we've actually already seen this happen. What was it? It was in Anthony Bourdain's documentary. So they used AI to recreate his voice after he died. And understandably, people felt really upset. They felt misled. And once audiences stop trusting documentaries, that's when it's game over. Because the most important currency we have as documentary filmmakers is trust. The second danger is copyright. So right now, companies are scraping films, books, scripts, performances, everything, all without permission. And imagine if they trained a model on one of my films. They probably did, to be honest, because it's on YouTube. And say one breath, and then they churned out something similar, and they gave no credit, no payment, no consent. That's outright theft. And this is what's happening. The writers and actors strike in Hollywood wasn't just about money. It was also about AI taking their work without giving anything back. The third danger is bias. AI learns from data, a lot of data. And that data is biased. We're already seeing outputs that come back with stereotypical answers. Or worse, erase diversity altogether. And the scary part is, if filmmakers start relying on those outputs, even in small ways, we risk reinforcing stereotypes without even realizing it. So there's a documentary called Coded Bias that looks at this exact issue, how algorithms don't just reflect inequality, they actually amplify it. And as documentary filmmakers, I feel our job should be the opposite, to challenge bias, not bake it deeper into our films. And then the fourth danger is the environment. So training these big models takes a huge amount of electricity and water. And that side of AI doesn't really get talked about much in the filmmaking industry. But I think it should, because if we're telling stories about the future of our planet, or about people living on the front lines of climate change, but then we're relying on tools that are fueling the problem, that feels like a real contradiction. And it's something that we're going to have to reckon with as an industry. So yeah, those are the big ones for me. Trust, copyright, bias, and the environmental cost. And they're not abstract issues. These cut right to the heart of what we do as documentary filmmakers, which is telling the truth, protecting our subject, and holding ourselves accountable. Chapter 3, how AI can actually help us. So it's not all doom and gloom. AI isn't just about fears and dangers. There are actually some really amazing opportunities with AI, especially if you're an independent or solo filmmaker. For example, I used to spend weeks organizing footage after a shoot. And it was so boring, but it was essential. And it just ate up all my time. Now with AI tagging, I can organize everything in a few clicks, and it just saves so much time. And I've also got this massive library of footage from the last 15, 20 years of making films, which is an amazing asset. But when I'm looking for a specific clip, It can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes to like dig through all the files and try and find the right hard drive with that shot on it. And I've often lost like half a day of scrolling through folders and drives just trying to track something down. Now with AI tagging, I can type in a keyword and find it within a few seconds. And for me, that's been an absolute game changer. Same with audio. So I think it was about 10 years ago, I filmed this interview where the mic picked up like this horrible hum. It was from a server in the room, and we weren't able to turn it off, unfortunately, and we couldn't film in another room. And so after I'd finished the interview, I was really worried. It's like, oh, is this gonna be able to use this interview because of the sound? And I spent about half a day like trying to clean it up, and it still sounded a bit rubbish. And these days I can just run that same audio through AI, and like within a couple of minutes, it's basically clean. And that's hours of frustration gone and a way better result, which makes a better film. Translations too. I've done NGO films where all the interviews were all in another language, and I couldn't start editing until those transcripts came back. And it used to take weeks for a translator going through everything, and like hours and hours and hundreds of pounds, if not thousands of pounds, to get that translation. And now AI does it instantly with a click of a button, which means I can get straight into the editing process. And it also doesn't blow the budget, which is really handy when you're in a low budget production. So this is the bit I think independent and solo filmmakers really need to pay attention to, because AI is leveling the playing field in ways that we've never seen before. The playbook that I learned like 15, 20 years ago when I first started out, that doesn't apply anymore. Back then, if you wanted to make a high quality film, you needed a team, and a highly skilled team. You just couldn't do it on your own. If you wanted clean audio, like you had to hire a sound designer and probably book a studio to do all the post on it. That could take weeks and cost a lot. And if you wanted your work seen around the world, you needed a broadcaster behind you, because there was no YouTube, no streaming platforms, no real way to get your film out by yourself. And now it's completely different. A small team, or even a solo filmmaker, can basically get Netflix quality films for a fraction of the cost. That kind of kit and process, like that used to cost hundreds of thousands of pounds. And that changes who gets to make these high-end films. It's not just the big studios anymore. It's you, it's me, and I find that really exciting. And this is where the creator economy shift really comes in. Because once indie filmmakers can make films that look and sound as good as big productions, and then release them straight onto like YouTube or build communities around them on platforms like Patreon, suddenly the gatekeepers don't matter in the same way anymore. And we're already seeing this. Like one of my favorite YouTube channels, Yes Theory, they've built this huge following around chasing connection. And Johnny Harris, another YouTuber, is basically running his own news operation. And Happen Films in New Zealand are making these beautiful stories about sustainability and simple living. And yeah, all of them have teams behind them, but compared to the studio films that might have hundreds of people helping to make them, these teams are tiny. They've proved that you don't need a big film crew to make something powerful anymore. So the question now is, like, what's next? Well, I can't predict the future, but I think we're going to see AI-only films. I mean, we already are, like on YouTube and all over the place, TikTok. But we might even see entire streaming channels filled with AI-generated content. Some festivals will ban them, like Justine Bateman has already called for with her film festival, and others will embrace it. That divide is already happening. And on the scripted side, you're already seeing experiments like, what was it called? I think it was called Showrunner, which is being pitched as the Netflix of AI. And Amazon has invested in it. So it's not just a fun demo. Big tech is like betting on this as the future. Now, I know that's not a documentary, but it does matter for us because if audiences get used to content being created like that, the line between like what's real and what's generated is going to get even blurrier. And for docs, I think that's huge because truth and authenticity, they're the foundation of what we do. So the really big question becomes, who do audiences trust? I think the filmmakers who stand out won't just be the ones with the best looking films, because AI can make anything look slick. It'll be the creators and the filmmakers that audiences trust. Like Johnny Harris, who I mentioned before. He's a journalist, but his whole brand is built on being transparent and human. He shows his process. He admits his limitations, and he's not afraid to say that he's made a mistake. And because of this, people follow him not just for the films, but because they trust him. And that's the model I'm betting on for the future. And it's not just personal branding. The industry itself is shifting this way too. Sony's already rolling out this new feature called Camera Verify. What it does is basically stamp digital signatures into your footage, the moment you hit record. And soon you'll be able to share a link to anyone so they can check if your video was actually shot in camera. That's where things are heading. Systems to prove authenticity, because trust is about to become the most valuable thing that we've got as documentary filmmakers. But even with tools like that, the real trust doesn't come from a watermark. It comes from how you work, from how you treat your subject, how transparent you are with your audience, how you show the behind the scenes and the raw human process. And that's what will separate real human filmmakers from all the AI noise. And this is why I think for independent filmmakers, there's a really bright future, because AI gives you some of the production power that used to take big crews and massive budgets. But your edge is your brand, your transparency, your humanity. That's the bit that no one else can fake. And that's what makes people choose to watch your documentary over some AI-generated film. So don't get caught up in trying to compete with AI on speed or cost, because you'll just lose. Compete on what it can't do, building trust, telling authentic stories, and putting your voice into your work. Because no matter how powerful AI gets, the one thing that it can't replace is your perspective, your relationships, and your voice. If you want to start experimenting with AI in your own films, I've actually put together a free list of AI filmmaking tools. You'll find the link down in the description below. And I thought you might like to check out this. Make sure you subscribe before they shut me down again.